Yeah, like I don't give a shit about like I remember some like the flood happened, and then people are mad about Halo 2 because like there's like a guy in it that you played as. He was a like an alien guy. Do you like how I'm explaining Halo 2 to you guys?
This is terrible. This might be
I've never played Halo 2, so sure.
Yeah.
That's why I'm just kind of like, sounds good, Evan. Sure.
But like, and then there's like a Spider Queen, like fucking Mass Effect 2 or something. I don't know. But
I think that's StarCraft, man. You're thinking of Carrion.
What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 40 of Podcast Reload. It's the general gaming podcast by SIFTD.net subscribers, where we invite community guests onto the show to talk about the games industry in all its weird ways. I am your host, Vin Hill, and joining me as always is, of course, my co-host and the sole Japan dweller, Evan Piotrowski.
Bit Summit.
And joining us as well is, of course, our community guest, and this week we've got Brian, also known as Bentley.
Hey, guys, how's it going?
Pretty good.
Oh, good,
yeah.
I think
Nice.
this is Bentley. You said your third time, right?
This is my third time on.
Third time, yeah.
Yes.
So thanks for coming on.
I'm going to
Maybe
be
the
Alec
last.
Baldwin. Yeah, it might be the last, yeah. Especially after my topic this week, I might be my last.
Yeah, you have exactly one topic to convince us of A, whether or not we should purchase a game, and B, whether or not you should be on the show again.
Yeah.
Choose your words carefully, sir.
Yes, exactly. I'm ready.
Looking forward to it. Yeah.
Cool. Community updates and corrections. I wasn't on last week. It was all Evan, so if there was any fuck-ups, it was all his fault. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, it was my fault. Actually, because I swore so much about talking about Star Fox, I actually went and I found the censor beep audio
I
clip.
saw that.
Yeah. And I brought that into the show. So now that I have it on my computer, I can say whatever I want, you pieces of shit. And because I'm editing this podcast, it'll sound better.
Although I will say, and I tweeted this to you guys, that Resident Evil Revelations 3, absolutely. If they announce that, I am in.
Thank you so much for saying that.
I am in so hard on that. The Revelations 2 was a fantastic game. I co-opted it with my brother and played it by myself. It's exactly
great,
what I wanted.
It's exactly
what was the topic you're referring to? Just so any listeners know.
Sure. We were talking about games that deserved. Dream game announcements, which is what Tomb Raiders had brought up, and I had said that I would like a continuation of the Revelations kind of side story series, and Bentley, man, I think Revelations 2 completely captures what like Resident Evil 4 was trying to go for. And in terms of the balance of horror and action, like I think they hit it straight on the mark, and I would love to see another one. But
nope, Dead Space. That's all I want. Dead Space reboot. Dead Space.
Okay, yeah. No, I did bring up Dead Space. I did bring it up.
No, yeah, I know. But I'm just reiterating for you, like that game needs to happen at some point. Like Visceral or whatever, visceral games. That's who made it. Like, stop making Battlefield. Get off it. Just go back to Dead Space. Do what you're good at.
That's odd to hear you be like, no, don't make any more Battlefields. Just get to
that's it. Like Hardline was the worst Battlefield probably in the last 10 years. So just you tried.
That team could have been making the next Dead Space game.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you tried, boys, and it was a valiant effort. Like, it was an alright game, but no, just go back to Dead Space. Like, the industry has a hole in it right now, and it needs more good survival horror, and just remaster it at least.
There's a hole in the industry, and it needs more Dead Space. Wait a minute.
Yeah, I got it.
Nice. I really liked how you set it up yourself and hit the ball. That was great. That was good.
that was just good. Anyway, yeah, we should move on. Brian, we've got a game for you, man.
Oh, I'm excited.
You haven't played Save or Kill before, right? This is
I have not.
Your first time.
Be
prepared because you'll need.
I'm ready.
Okay,
wait. I'm sorry. I do have a question before we start. Because you guys have bounced back and forth on this. When I kill something, does it still exist in the past or not? Because you guys have sort of bounced around that it doesn't exist ever in the history of the world, or it just stops being at that point.
Are you saying that our lore is inconsistent?
I am saying that someone has done some serious retconning.
All right, Vin, please explain.
Basically, if you kill it, then it's gone from history, from the future, from everything. Like you're just erasing it from your life completely. So
right,
that's it. It's a serious
obviously,
decision.
judging from your reaction, the stakes have been raised. So
Yes. Oh yeah.
choose carefully. All right, Vin, let him have it.
All right, Mario or Sonic?
Sonic.
Ooh.
Are you out of your
Half-Life.
mind? I'm sorry. Actually, I should probably shut up for this. All right, please continue.
Yes. Half-Life or Diablo?
Diablo.
Nice.
Half-Life 2 is one of those experiences that you can't recreate the feelings that you had when you played that game.
Yeah, I would say Diablo is aged better as well, almost.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
people are going to be shouting
you
me
might be
for
right.
that. So,
I'm sure
I don't know.
that people are going to be, upset about this, but because especially considering I attacked a Blizzard game. Oh no.
True.
Blizzard is overrated. Send your hate mail to me.
Yeah, Evan, do you want to be on my podcast? Because seriously, I need someone to fight the Blizzard fight with me.
Right. No, yeah, straight up. Diablo is one of my favorite games. I will defend it.
Fresh meat.
No, it doesn't exist anymore, Finn. I just killed it.
Oh, yeah, so you did.
Yeah.
Okay, no, never
Go
mind. Final Fantasy 15 or Persona 5?
Oh, Final Fantasy 15.
Oh wow.
That's all right. That's preemptive strike there. Fez or Undertale?
I'm gonna go with Fez just because I really liked the way Undertale told the story.
Fair enough. And the last one, what can we go for? Portal or Team Fortress 2?
Ooh.
Neither. Oh wait, sorry. I'm not. This isn't my.
This is a hard
sorry,
one for Valve.
okay, sorry.
For Valve fans.
Bentley, please.
See, it's really difficult because I put a lot of hours into Team Fortress 2, and without Team Fortress 2, I feel like we wouldn't have Overwatch.
Oh sure.
I guess I will
argument.
say I will say Team Fortress 2 because I believe that Portal is more integral to the timeline of history and how video games have progressed based on it being in where it was in the time that it happened.
Fair enough.
Well, at least you thought about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I did. I had a whole 10, 13 seconds to think about it. It's great.
Oh, sure. No, you really did. Yeah.
Sweet. Cool. That wraps us up.
Sweet. I didn't feel like any of those were really that hard.
What? All right. What's your favorite game of all time?
Oh, of all time. Persona 4 might be my favorite game of all time. Yeah. It's definitely in the
All right.
top
Final
5.
Fantasy 15 or Persona 4?
I'll kill off Final Fantasy 15 every time when you put it against a Persona game.
All right, Bentley. Who? Chie?
No, I'm oh God, I'm blanking out on what her name with the A.
Really? This is your favorite game of all time?
Yeah, and I just I don't know what I'm trying to think of for it. The dark-haired girl.
It's not Akiko, is it?
Oh yeah, Akiko, is that her name?
I don't remember.
Gosh, this is terrible.
Only
You're right.
because
I only know her face.
It's
I'm
Chie
blanking
or
out.
nothing.
No.
How dare you?
No.
How
No, Chie
dare you?
she's okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with her. She just would not be the person I'd pick to romance.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with her because there's everything right with her.
No, I think
what I'm
she'd
saying?
be a
Anyway.
good friend, but I don't think I would ever romance her. I mean, it's just not going to happen. Like, I like Makoto in Persona 5, but I don't think I'm going to romance her. I think she'd just be someone I'd have as a friend.
Sure. All right.
Anyway,
All right,
moving
fair
on.
enough.
Hey,
enough.
as a 39-year-old male, if I want to talk about what high school girl I'm going to romance in a pixelated form, I'm going to talk about it. It's not creepy at all. It's not.
As well as you should. I mean, we could go on for why Chie is the best choice in
Evan,
Persona 4 for
what have you been playing
days,
this week?
but
We really can't, Evan, because that is not an option.
okay. I've been
Unless you're
playing...
against one of the guys, I would say maybe I would even romance Yusuke before I'd romance Chie.
This is going somewhere. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm throwing down right now.
That's fucking blasphemy. All right, but yes.
Yeah, what have you been playing, man?
We'll have to save that for another podcast. But yes, playing a lot of games. Played The Order, 1886.
Oh yeah, how you find that?
Everyone fucking trashed that game, but I actually kind of liked it.
I was gonna say, like, this is one of my things. Like, when it first came out and people were paying $60 for it, like, yeah, I got the controversy, but at the same time, I thought it was a pretty decent game. Like, I don't think it was that bad.
However, I paid $4 for it.
Oh,
right,
well.
So
there you go.
I paid $60 and I don't regret it.
Okay,
so I've got that side of the argument.
Okay, so you saying that, I think if I paid $60, I might be a bit pissed because I think there's not really much there past the 6-hour playthrough to do anything. Okay, a couple notes. Things I liked. I think the Order of the Knights that have continued since the days of King Arthur, that whole story is fucking super interesting, I think. Sure. And the idea of like the Holy Grail being this giant pedestal that like mysteriously releases this black water that gives the Knights of the Order like it's like an elixir that allows them to cure mortal wounds before they die and to extend their life and have them like serve the Knights Order for hundreds of years. Like that shit's super cool. A couple things I was confused with was like they always talk like in the beginning first hours of the games they're talking about the rebels and the rebels and the rebels. It's like you don't know really like who are the rebels, what do they do, what are they fighting for? The game never fucking tells you. Like in most of the game I felt like I was in the wrong. Like the Order were kind of being like rich dicks that like hate the poor people. And like London is in shambles and like where's the crown? Like who's ruling London? Like it seems like a pretty shit place to live to me. And
the way I sort of accepted it was that the game is obviously a lot bigger than what we saw in the first game, and I say the first game because I think there's going to be a sequel at some point to extend upon it. You know, I sort of accepted that the world is bigger than that one game. You know what I mean? And there's more going on. So that's how I sort of accepted it. But it was okay.
So since you guys both played it, my question to you guys is this a game that either originally was longer and has been cut down? And then second question is, was this game built to be a series?
So I think... sorry, Vin. I think it wasn't cut down, but it was totally built to be a series.
Yep, I agree. Completely.
Yeah.
Basically, the Order 1886 was built to be a showcase for the PS4, and it did it perfectly.
Oh, that even in 2017,
it's stunning.
That game is fucking beautiful.
Game. Yeah,
it looks so good. Although like the camera way too close, the fucking black bars on the top and bottom, super annoying because when you're in cover, you cannot see what's going on above you because there's a black bar. And I don't know if that was like a frame rate issue or like they just wanted to make the whole deal more cinematic. But it's the same reason that like Psycho Break, what's it called?
Evil Within.
The Evil Within had black, it had the bars on the top and the bottom where it's
make it more cinematic.
You can't see shit. Like this whole fucking game, like there's a part in the game that you're trying to look for like boxes. You have to identify a box with has an insignia on it, and there's just like the vision, the line of the view that you have. It's like you're just. It's really, really difficult to see what you're doing because like the character, the back of your character takes up like a third of the screen. It's ridiculous. Yeah. But having said that, totally decent cover-based shooter. Even the stealth sections I kind of liked. It was a bit of a mix-up. I got through like it wasn't one of those things where like you die because of the stealth sections. Like no, I totally went through them. So that was cool. Other than that, I started playing Catalyst, Mirror's Edge Catalyst.
Nice.
It's Mirror's Edge, solid platforming, fluid controls, that whole deal.
It's a solid 7, 8 out of 10 in my opinion. Like, I don't think it's amazing. I don't think it's bad.
And I think, Vin, you turned me onto the first one. I quit playing what I played of the first one and then gave it a second try, and then I love the first one. This one, one thing I'm a bit worried about is you know how in like the Arkham games where you relied a bit too heavily on the Batman vision just because it was there?
Yeah.
In this one, you have kind of like a runner's vision, which is basically like it's like a red line that shows you exactly where you're supposed to parkour to like the next level. This one's
when I played it, like the further I got into it, the less I relied on it.
Right.
Because you just learn.
But I will say it's similar to the Batman vision that I think it's kind of bad level design because once the highlighted path is gone, I immediately get lost in this game. And
really?
Oh, totally. Like, because it's like you need to go to a specific location and get somewhere very, very specifically. And every now and then, like the runner's vision, especially like the beeline that you need to take to your next objective, it'll like disappear for a while. And so I'm like running, I'm jumping, I'm sliding, I'm fucking rolling, and then it's like, oh wait, where am I supposed to go? And I have to hit the button to try to highlight the runner's vision. Like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to go. So it's one of those things where like because they integrated into the game, much like the Arkham vision, that you rely on it way too much, to where in other games where you don't have things highlighted, you have to figure it out for yourself.
Interesting.
Yeah, but it's Mirror's Edge. I like Mirror's Edge, and I'm having a good time with it. So, yeah. But, yep.
Cool. Nice.
So I'm playing. And, okay, I guess, Bentley, what have you been playing?
Sure. Basically, I've only been playing one thing, and that's Persona 5. I am up to about 118 hours.
Jesus Christ. Really?
Yeah. That is, yeah.
Yeah, I basically spend any minute I'm not either taking care of my child or working or sleeping, I'm playing Persona 5. It's
like do you think about it when you're sleeping and that?
Oh yeah, sure. Absolutely. I think about what I got to do next and, who I still need to, cuz I'm down to I only have like 5 confidence left. Sorry, not confidence, but confidence left that I have to max out. So I've maxed out.
That means the social links, right?
Right. Yeah. Sorry. The social links where you and one nice thing that for Persona 5 from Persona 4 is maxing out the links. Actually, like the different ones actually give you bonuses that you can use.
Okay. Yeah. That's because
there are a lot of people. There are a bunch of people in Persona 4 that if you went and just maxed out like the sun, whatever it's called.
The Arcana, like I don't know
the Arcana, that's it. The Sun Arcana.
Yeah.
If you maxed it out, it didn't mean anything. Now it actually means something. Or some of them are better than others, but yeah, they all mean something now. It's actually kind of nice.
Right. Okay, so you're a big fan of Persona 4. In comparison with the story of Persona 4, without giving away spoilers, how do you feel about the story of Persona 5?
Without being spoilery, the stories are very the stories are very similar in a way. But I do like that there's a little more to the story in Persona 5. Like it's not as cut and dry. These are the good guys, these are the bad guys, that sort of thing. Like whereas in Persona 4, it's pretty clear. The investigation team. Is this, and in Persona 5, it's a little less clear as to where it's a little grayer, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I like I like that term of depth.
People keep dying every week, basically. Let's put a team together and figure out who the killer is. Like, right. I mean, you figure out that story pretty quickly, but it seems like Persona 5 rather is not necessarily that, like.
Yes, it builds a little more. It builds a little more naturally and opens up, as opposed to right from the beginning. It's people are dying. You have to you need to figure out who's killing everybody, as opposed to this is kind of like we have no idea what's going on. We slowly build into the story. So it definitely there's more to the story in terms of that, like where you're being encouraged to continue the story along.
All right. Well, okay. So, I mean, I'm sure we could all. Well, maybe not. I don't know about Vin, but we could go on about Persona for a while. But
right, Yukiko. By the way, I remembered her name now.
Yukiko. Yeah, that's right. That was her name with the fan.
Yeah. Yes, I'm Yukiko. I'm Team Yukiko.
Get off this podcast, please.
You're like, where's that kick button? Where's that kick user button? What?
We'll see what happens in Persona 6, which comes out in 2025. But
and I'll be ready.
Say, man.
I will be ready.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Yeah. All right, Vin. What have you been playing? It's been a while since you've been on the podcast, so
yeah, man.
I'm guessing you've played a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing like the start of a lot of games, but I haven't really sat down and played a full-on game for a while because obviously been getting married and all that sort of shenanigans, and I've been sick over the past week. It's been crazy, but yeah, I finally got the platinum on The Last of Us. Finally did it.
Wait.
Slow clap.
Slow clap. I mean, Jesus Christ! Like how long?
It's one of the hardest platinums I've ever seen.
Like you say grounded plus. I think I'm out.
I had to do grounded 4 times in total to get all of the collectibles as well.
You went through the multiplayer, which almost broke
you. The multiplayer is what did it. Is what almost broke me because I refused to buy the DLC, which was all like there was a lot of pay to win in that game. I'll explain it real quick. Basically, in The Last of Us DLC, in The Last of Us multiplayer, you have survivors, so you have your own little camp and stuff. And the more games that you win and the better that you do, you get more survivors come and join your camp. And it's an ambiguous thing. It's not actually a part of the game in any way. But if you lose a game or you do bad at if you don't get enough kills in a certain game, you don't get enough quote-unquote supplies, then people start getting sick and then they die, and then your survivor count sort of goes down. But to get the trophy, like there's 2 trophies that you have to get in multiplayer. To get the trophy, you have to survive. Yeah, you have to survive like 90 games or something. And each game on average takes about 10 minutes. So that times 90, so it's like 900 minutes already, and then you times that by 2 because you have to do that twice. It's a colossal amount of time, and it's a massive undertaking just for 2 trophies basically. And if any of your dudes die or something, then that's in jeopardy, you know. So it was just such a pain in the ass, and I hated every second of it because when The Last of Us first came out, the multiplayer was awesome. I had so much fun with it. It was.
I've heard nothing but good things about it. Yeah, like it was like
it was really tactical
multiplayer,
and slow,
right?
And you have to communicate with each other, and you have to get your flanks properly because there's only like 4 people on each team as well. It's not a massive team-based game, and it's a lot slower paced for good reason. But the second that they introduced these pay-to-win weapons, almost, it just breaks the game. It just completely breaks it. Because it's all unbalanced, and like when you have to force your way through, it was horrible. But literally, the second that trophy
and that's
popped
tied
up,
to the trophies of the game, like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. When you have pay to win weapons integrated in it. Yeah,
it was mind blowing to me because you've got Naughty Dog, which is like this amazing studio that have made 10 out of 10 games, and like The Last of Us is arguably one of the best games of the past decade or something. Like the way that it's progressed, sort of the industry, and how people's perception have changed about games because of that one game. It's become sort of the ambassador game to show non-gamers what our industry can be. You get all that amazing stuff, and then suddenly there's like pay-to-win DLC in there, and it's like, oh, it just feels so disgusting.
Yeah,
it's like, why is this in here? It's so weird. So yeah, I mean, anyway, I pushed through it. I persevered. The second that trophy popped up, I backed out the game. I was like, I'm never fucking touching that multiplayer ever again. Fuck you, and fuck your game. And yeah, I mean, I got it, and I ran out there and I declared victory upon it. So I was happy about that. But yeah, I mean, I don't regret it. It was a good trophy to get, and I don't know anyone else that's got it for one, because just the amount of time that it takes to get it. But Grounded by itself was pretty brutal.
Yeah, I will say though, Vin. It might have felt like a long time to get the platinum trophy on that, but the 8 years in Lego Harry Potter fucking felt like 8 years to me. And like I didn't get a platinum out of it. I got lines under my eyes and like broken dreams and yeah. What a horrible game.
How long would it take you to platinum Harry Potter?
That, man. that game. That game sucks. There's nothing. It's the most vanilla wafer, empty fucking parent.
It's pretty solid. But it's designed for 10-year-olds, man. You gotta remember that.
But like most Harry Potter fans should be older now. You know what I mean? Like I'm a Harry Potter fan. That shit came out when I was a kid, and it didn't age with me. Like that game sucks. Vin, what have you been? Are we moving on to topics? Man,
like I haven't really finished anything. I started a couple of games. I started Little Nightmares, which is sort of like Unraveled, like / Inside, like this new indie game that just came out. Right, I only just started that, so I wanna play that probably before I give it a good little quote unquote review. What else have we been playing? Yeah, that's it. I tried to start The Witcher, but I got three missions in. I was like, yeah, this is too big. I haven't got time for this shit. I backed out.
That's the way The Witcher goes.
It is. And Persona 5 is looking the same way. Like, just listening to you guys talking about it, I was sort of just like, no. Yeah, maybe when I retire, you know.
Yeah. If you can't start The Witcher, you're not starting Persona 5.
Yeah, definitely
right, not. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah. Anyway, Evan, what are we talking about this week, man? No, we're going to start with our guest, aren't we? Of course. Brian, what are we talking about this week, man?
So what we're talking about is, and this actually almost, I almost feel like this thing started a while back when you guys were talking about Final Fantasy 15 originally, and I was listening to the podcast going, well, next time I get on, you know, I totally was like the old man sitting on the porch. You know, like, next time I get on, I'm going to talk about Final Fantasy 15. I'm going to tell them that they got to play it. So, bad voice.
That's a drunk old man.
Yeah.
By the way, I think.
Yeah, that's. Yeah.
I do get the full image, though. Dungarees, straw hat, rocking chair. I got it.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I have the full, you know, I don't even think. I have maybe I have the overalls, but maybe I don't have a shirt on underneath it, you know?
With or without. I mean, we don't discriminate.
But I definitely have a shotgun across my leg and some moonshine.
And that is the exact person that plays Final Fantasy 15. So
that is untrue. That is untrue.
All right. So basically, I think the idea of this topic is Vin and myself have been massive Final Fantasy fans our entire lives.
Sure.
Vin he like very creepily, when I visited him in Osaka when he's still in Japan, he pulled me to the corner, and he showed me.
It was not this creepy, by the way.
No, yeah, I'm totally blown inside of proportion. Like, this kind of happened. Show me a book of all the fucking Final Fantasy games, and just like okay, so basically, yeah, we're massive fucking fans, but since 13 and how much the series has dragged on since then,
sure,
I think we've just kind of lost our fervor and our excitement for the series, and even when 15 came out, finally, when they cemented the idea that 15 was a Final Fantasy game, a legitimate Final Fantasy, and it was being released, I think both Vin and I were just very skeptical, skeptical because of how long it had taken, and also because of the fucking mess that 13 turned out to be. So,
yeah. So here's all right. So let's start with a few facts. Final Fantasy 15 was Final Fantasy 13 Versus for what, like 8 or 9 years out of its 10-year life cycle.
For the longest time.
Right. So right off the bat, you kind of knew that there was this other type of game out there. And then there was the fact, so fact number 2 is, once you've put that kind of time, even into a Final Fantasy game, like, there has to be a point where you're like, okay, well, either we chuck this whole thing and just accept this giant loss, or we are past the point of no return where we have to put something out. Like, something has to go out where we need some money to come back in terms of recuperation of cost.
Right.
And so that's a second factor. And then there's the immediate looking back at Final Fantasy 13 and saying, wow, that is just not what I wanted it to be. And now something brand new is coming out. So there's kind of like all these swirling pieces now to actually get to the game parts. I feel like one of the first things that went wrong with Final Fantasy 15 had nothing to do with the game itself. It had to do with how they portrayed it, and then how the marketing and advertising arms portrayed it, and then how
it was a mess. The whole game was like the whole marketing campaign behind that game was just a total mess. Then
there's the part of where it was just like they focused on this dude bro road trip, and
right.
Yes, that is a part of the game, is this completely contrived reason for them to be on the road, moving from place to place. Yes, it is completely contrived, and we understand that, but then they focused on it so much. It was...
that's all they focused on.
Yeah, and it was just like, they're like, you need to play this game because it's a dude bro road trip, and you're like, what does that have to do with Final Fantasy?
Right. I think that's the thing that put the stigma on me and Evan, I would say, more than anything, because the main problem which I have with the game, and I think I speak for Evan in this respect as well, where the whole dude bro thing is something that we've seen before. And we've seen it time and time again in Japanese culture, especially when you live over there and you see it in manga, you see it in anime, you see it in movies. Just the camaraderie of them same four characters, which we see over and over again. The main character where he's moody but he's thoughtful, and then he's got his muscly best friend that protects him, and then you've got like the Joker who's really fun.
Yeah.
And it's sort of effeminate, and then you've got the intelligent dude who is like who whenever he speaks, it's like the words of God. It's like we've seen these characters a million times, and here you are shoving it down our throats again. After 10 years of development, this is the best you can come up with. This isn't original. Right. This isn't new. And that's all the marketing that we saw for it. That whole dude bro like road trip. It was like, why do I want to play this? Like, I don't get it. And I think that was the main problem I had. Like, I don't know about you, Evan.
Oh yeah, I just a bit confused. Oh, okay. So, Bentley.
Yeah.
Let's put it to. Yeah, so I have a lot of issues with exactly, what was presented to me, right. But so it's one of those things, like, it's really difficult because Final Fantasy has so many moving parts and the series changed over time, but right. I guess the best thing to do is, like, because this is supposed to be a topic where you're supposed to convince us as to why maybe right. we should buy the game.
Right.
So, like, what?
I'm still setting. I'm setting it up. Like,
you're setting up. That's totally fine. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
Like, what? Okay, so there's all this advertising and all this stuff that Vin and I have absorbed about Final Fantasy 15, and right. we don't really need to go over what those things are. You know very well the things that we saw in the media
sure.
about Final Fantasy 15 and how they portrayed the game and all these types of things. So, like,
right. So,
what hooked you on the game? What made this feel like an important game? What made it feel like a worthy game to purchase to you?
Sure.
What made it feel like a Final Fantasy game to you?
Oh wow, okay, so that question's a little more difficult.
Okay, so you can take one of those questions or all of them.
So what made it feel like a Final Fantasy game were zippers on their clothes, and all
right, done. Okay, this is Podcast Reload. Thank you for
and I'm never coming back.
Zippers on clothing. All right.
No, so to me, a quintessential Final Fantasy is that sort of that epic tale. So, in a lot of times the epic tale involves collecting the characters as you move along. In this case, the characters are already together. And if you... and I know this is terrible, but I actually watched the anime, and it was actually pretty good. I think it was called Brotherhood or whatever it was.
It came out in like 5 episodes or something like that, right?
Yeah, it was actually pretty good, and it does help give some background. But to me, what it was is you have these people who are going on this epic story trip, and things that are it has a group of like what's new as far as who these characters are, what their actual purpose is, what they're trying to do, and then there are the pieces of the familiar, which are, you know, the monsters. You know, like there's just something about, you know, okay, well, I'm going to fight a bomb. I'm going to fight, you know, a behemoth. These things are what make a you know, like if that to me is a part of playing a Final Fantasy game. It's sort of like, you know, when you play a Dragon Quest game, you're going to fight a slime. And
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, like when you have those consistent enemies, it makes it feel like a Final Fantasy game. And I'll be honest, like some of the stuff, and I know this is going to sound terrible, there were certain parts of the game where it felt like I actually felt compelled to come back and play, which is not something I really felt that often during the 3 episodes of Final Fantasy 13. You know, so there were actual times where I'd go to bed and be thinking about what I was going to play the next day. You know,
wait a minute. Did you, when you say that, did you finish all 3 episodes of Final Fantasy 13?
Yes, I did.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yes, I went through 1, 2, and Lightning Returns.
How much did they pay you?
Yeah,
I didn't get
seriously.
paid. I didn't get paid at all. I actually enjoyed all 3 games. I enjoyed them.
Bentley, you totally you ruined your position on this podcast by saying you actually enjoyed 13. I'm sorry.
To be fair, we've had this conversation before. Like, Final Fantasy 13 isn't a bad game if you took the Final Fantasy out of it. If it was just called the 13 or something, like it probably wouldn't be that bad of an RPG. But it's because it came after Final Fantasy 12, and it's such a high pedigree, and then it's just completely different.
So one of the things that I end up focusing on with Final Fantasy 13-1, which they improved on in Final Fantasy 13-2, is the combat system. I actually like the combat system. I like the idea of the Ravager and the Sentinel and the Attacker, and I like the, you know, instead of it being, you know, okay, well, you know, a mage or this or that, it was more of a concept of, you know, a collective attacks, like a strategy, rather than being a specific person and, you know, doing jobs and all this thing. So I actually like that they made this change. I enjoyed the combat system. There were a lot of parts of the story I did not like. Yeah, I mean, I can be very honest that, yes, I finished all those games because I like Final Fantasy. There were parts of 13-1 and, well, Lightning Returns is kind of a mess all over the place. But I did finish it.
In that, the thing is with Final Fantasy 15,
right,
like in this respect, the only thing that I really care about is the story. Like, and everyone that I've spoken to about Final Fantasy 15, they've all said the same thing, where it's like, well, if you ignore the story, it's a good game. But that's the main reason why I play a Final Fantasy is because of the story.
Yeah, that's okay. So if you want me to try to defend the story, this is going to be difficult, and here's why. The story, in all honesty, the problem with the story is not the story. The story is kind of your typical, a guy, like if his father's killed, he has to go back and try to figure out, like, the main bad guys and try to take them out. That part of the story is not terrible. The problem is you don't care about Noctis. At no point in time do you ever care about Noctis. Right. You can't even say, like, well, he's just a brooding character. No, he's worse than that. He's like bubblegum that's been chewed for like an hour. And someone put it down and they're like, okay, I need you to pick up this bubblegum and care about it. And you're like,
that's pretty good.
It's flavorless and it's kind of mushy and I don't like it. And that is a huge problem, because you can look past, Ignis being like you said, the word of God, the smart guy. And you can look past Gladios, him being, the stoic, tough guy, and the Joker. And you can look past these things, because the story is not terrible. I mean, it's a little weird that he drives to this one place and then the woman's not there, and then she shows up and they're in love, but they're not in love, and it doesn't. And then the ending just kind of makes it all not make a whole lot of, like, you're like, I don't know how we got to this point, but you don't care about Noctis. So at no point during the story are you like, oh man, I really hope Noctis pulls this out because you don't care about him? So there's very little
that's
defense
shit
for
to
the
me.
story part.
I mean, like, even fucking 12, right? It had like a Star Wars story, but it was actually slightly interesting. Like, there were stakes involved. So, okay, so in the vaguest terms, right, leading up to the final battle, like, were there stakes? Did it seem like you were fighting for something? Did it seem like it was worth it? What you had experienced from the beginning of the game to the end of the game, was it leading to something? Like, was there that main like every fucking Final Fantasy game has had that? Like, did you have that?
So here are parts of the so yes, there is this overlying thing where you are realizing that there is a force behind the Empire coming in, and it is not a force for good. And so you have a people's, your father was the king, he was killed, and you as a character are like, okay, I need to save my people. I'm now the king. Even if you look at it from the trope of, young prince, doesn't really care until he finds out that he's the king and he has a responsibility. He takes that responsibility and then, and moves into it. There's a lot of anime games, whatever, that have this, and it still can be interesting. And in fact, the fact that you have to, you're encouraged to go around to these different dungeons and get the magic swords or weapons from your ancestors. You start learning about your ancestors and you're like, okay, I'm building up to this, except for the fact that while I, Brian Bentley, care about making my people, going in as the main character, collecting the history, learning about the lore of my people, defending those people, and then realizing that all the annexed, other nations that were annexed by the Empire, there is an undercurrent of caring and, goodness in these people, and that I can free them eventually, and save the people of my own home, and, do all these things, except for the fact that, I, Brian Bentley, may care, except I don't care about the vessel in which I'm supposed to do this. So so there are all these parts that could come together, except for the character itself is bland. Like it's not even like, it's not even like a Fallout game where you're like, okay, well, this character is a blank slate which I am filling. No, there's a character there. He just doesn't care, and I don't care about him.
Right. Well, yeah. Fucking hell, man. Like,
so that's the quintessential problem. Is the story is not. The story itself is not terrible. Like there are redeeming qualities to the story.
I don't know, like
the character,
the way that
though,
the way that you position it, though, it seems like it is pretty terrible because you're reading the story as it goes along, but you don't give a shit enough to care about the characters. To me, that seems like a failure of story.
I feel like if the character itself was different and the character development was greater, then I could actually care about the story.
So you're saying the overarching story is interesting enough, you just needed the character to bring you into that story to make it, like, worth more?
Yes.
Type of thing?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want the Empire to win. I want to defeat evil. But I could care less what happens to Noctis.
Yeah. Oh, that's shit then. Okay, so
that part is problematic, and then there's the problematic part, and I realize that I've completely talked you out of playing this game overall, except because believe me, I have a lot of other complaints about the game, but the part that I love is the actual playing of the game. Right. So going around and seeing the different areas, because there's some lush area and there's some deserty area, and it's not like, okay, now it's time to go to the desert world. It's not like that. And then to run into the different god-like character, the Eidolons, and then meet them and to experience what it's like, to have them in the world, because it is a throwback. The Eidolons are the ones from the original game, right? So, like there's Ramu and Ifrit and Ifrit.
Right, yeah, all the
Shiva,
the household.
So, right.
And from what I've seen of those things, they do look really cool.
Oh my god, the animation.
Oh yeah,
they
do. I mean, but like, do you use them a lot? Like, it doesn't.
No, so here's the problem: is it's all the Eidolon use is based on this. You have to check these boxes during the battle. Mm-hmm. So like you have to be like, one is like you have to be losing the battle in a group, and something else has to happen, and it has to be like raining or some shit. And
okay.
then,
all right. So
like
I don't like anything you just said. I like.
So what you're trying to say is you don't actually have direct control over the actual summons. It's all based on
situational. It's situational,
randomized almost.
Yeah. But when it happens, it is badass. Like I was in like one of the final battles, and all of a sudden like it triggered, and then Titan comes up and takes a giant piece of earth and drops it on the main bad guy. Like it was just like, all right, this is sweet. Thanks for coming along. But the animations are phenomenal, just unreal. Like it's the animations for the summons are Final Fantasy at its best.
Yeah,
absolutely. And
that's cool.
And I realized that the combat is not particularly deep, but there is a breadth to it. So it's wide, not necessarily deep. And I did enjoy it. I even beat the Adamantoys, which took a long ass time. It took me about 40 minutes.
Yeah. So in general, is the combat is like towards the end game? Because obviously I played the demo and stuff, and the magic feels a bit weird where you throw it like a grenade and stuff like that. And like I didn't like it that much in the I can't remember what it was called, like the Carbuncle, the weird demo that they put out where Noctis is a kid. Whatever, it's not actually a part of the game. It's just it's like its own separate. It was such a horrific showcase of what the game was apparently, but. Like towards the end of the game, like how is that loop like of actually playing the game and the combat itself? Like, does it get better as time goes on, or is it? I feel stagnate at any point.
I actually feel like it gets better, especially once you start getting more of the magic weapons, and you start being able to develop. Like I actually did play with the. Like the different putting the elements together to make different spells. So it's not just necessarily, Fyra and, Thundaga, and you can actually make those, but you can make those with little pieces, like little extra bonuses. So all of a sudden, like if you know that you're, like hurting, then, like I actually had like a Fyra with healing. So I would throw the fire and my team would get healed.
Okay.
So there's an interesting take on the previous game's ideas of magic and how you actually cast spells and stuff like that.
Yes, but it is like a grenade. It is an area effect. If your idiot teammates run into it, they will get on fire.
Right.
So don't give your teammates the magic, because they will blow you up.
All right, so I think you... Okay, so basically...
So I have not convinced you at all, is what you're saying.
No, you've... Like, I'm still interested in playing the game. I don't know. Like...
It's one of those things where
the group of fucking boys and, like, the lack of rapport and story between the group of the four boys...
Yeah, the main thing that makes me nervous was the actual was the movie. I don't know if you guys watched it.
Yeah, I saw the movie.
No. Yeah, it's. I mean, it looks pretty and like it works pretty well, but the editing's terrible. Like that's one criticism I will give to it openly. But that story after that, it was sort of, I don't know how interested I am in this world, and it's such a shame because I am such a huge fan of Final Fantasy and stuff, but.
This is definitely part of the problem is you almost have to go into it with the caveats. You have like those things that I listed at the beginning where you're like, all right, well, it was 10 years in development and it was, as a fan of Final Fantasy, I am able to tell you that I can use some of my fandom to dismiss some of the parts that are really glaringly troublesome because of the length of time of development. But as a person who is not a fanboy of Final Fantasy, I can say without a doubt that this is clearly not the best Final Fantasy that's ever been made, but it is not the worst Final Fantasy that's ever been made. There are some redeeming qualities to this game.
Okay. Yeah, I guess we are focused on... Yeah, I guess we are sort of focused on, is this the best Final Fantasy that's ever been released, sort of thing, and that's what we're looking at. But
no, I still
would
argue
kind of
that's
hard.
either 6 or 9.
Yeah, 9 is my favorite, always will be. But it's probably more of a conversation like, is it the worst? And
it is
from
not
what
the
you're
worst.
saying, it's obviously no. But
it is not.
Yeah, I mean, Brian, you've actually platinumed the game. Like, you've played it a hell of a lot. What is your favorite thing about the game? That's the question that we should be asking.
Oh wow. I honestly, it is the feeling of just playing it and enjoying the moment to moment, combat, and then you have meeting different you're meeting different people. You're playing with chocobos and you're driving around. Honestly, there were, especially as a person who, I get up and get water and stuff. There are times where I just got in the car and I let them drive, and then I'm like, I'm going to go get some water, or I'm going to go grab me, a snack or something, and let them drive and let them do their thing. And that's fine. It
sounds cool. It sounds nice. It sounds friendly. Sounds mild. The
best word I can use to describe this game is it's harmless.
Yeah.
It's one of those games.
Oh, lovely.
But the moment to moment while you're actually playing it feel pretty good. I mean, it's only when you stop playing it and that you sit there and be like, well, this part I really didn't like, and this part didn't like. And let me tell you, at the end, when they take away all your buddies and make you fight alone with no weapons except for the ring of Regis, that is twice as long as it needs to be, maybe 3 times longer than it needs to be. It's just too long for words.
Yeah, Japanese games are bad at exhibition, but what are you gonna do?
It's like all of a sudden you're like, okay, well, they're like, you can, basically what it's doing is it's pulling away your friends and saying you can still fight by yourself because you have the ring of Regis, and you're like, okay, cool. And then it's 3 hours later and you're like, okay, I really should have met up with them by now.
Oh shit, yeah, it's a long time.
Yeah,
that's bad.
It's a very long piece. So, yeah. But that's not until the very, very end. But there are so many parts, the people, the non-player characters are interesting. You meet a bunch of interesting people along the way. Like I said, the magic, it can be a little deeper. The fishing is terrible. Do not do the fishing unless you absolutely want to.
From a technical standpoint, how is the game? How does it look? Does it feel like a PS3 game that's been up-resed?
No, I don't believe so. I actually think it looks pretty darn beautiful. It really does.
Because I've heard mixed things. From the demo that I played, you could noticeably see there was some PS3 models in there, and it was just that is blatantly not this gen, and it's mixed in with Noctis, which has got this really nice fluid animation. It's all right, he's PS4, but his background, man, that's PS3, early PS3, and you can tell it's pretty bad.
I guess I should have been more specific. The character models for the main 4 characters are unreal. They are. Right. They spent a lot of time building those characters, and you can tell, and it's worth it. Mm-hmm. It really is. It's absolutely worth looking at those characters. Now, once you get into the cityscapes and there's stuff on the outside, and some of them are a little bit muddy. Some of it's a little muddy. Okay. But man, I'll tell you, either if you just look at the character models of the main 4 characters or the summons, the Eidolon summons, those, you're just going to sit there going, whoa, this is Like your mind just melts watching it. It's beautiful.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So to wrap this up, Evan, how are you feeling about it now? Right.
Like, fucking hell, man.
Still the same?
I don't know. Like, I'll buy it. I'll buy it on a sale. Like, sure. I beat Final Fantasy 13 and 13-2. I haven't played Lightning Returns or whatever the fuck that game is.
Here's a better question for you then. Here's a better question. How much would you pay for Final Fantasy 15?
$5.
5?
Wow. Okay,
that's pretty brutal.
I was thinking 20. Is okay.
Yes, so,
30.
Let's just say like the JRPG sale pops up on. Okay, I'll pay like 10, 15 tops. Let's put it that way. 15 tops. I'm not paying any more than that. I would love to pay 5, but I'll pay 15.
I've been thinking about this recently, actually. Like, if I was to ever start writing reviews, or there was a review system anywhere, like, they should start doing it by, like, how much would you pay for this game? Like, rather than 5 stars, or rather than
right.
10, you know?
Finn, we could talk. We could talk about that more, but I have a problem with putting a value to money number on it, just because I feel like it's so subjective.
Yeah.
That would be my only problem.
Sense.
I don't disagree with you that I do think about it in terms of that, but I struggle with review. Never mind. This is a whole other conversation.
Yeah. This is different.
Final Fantasy 15 costs $5.
No,
I mean, the thing that I will say is that, like, the way like Bentley's obviously talking about it is that, you know, there is a gameplay loop which a lot of people have obviously got like fallen into, and they've really liked it. You know, like just the whole like going about your day, and then in the background there's this story which it's sort of there, and you can enjoy it if you really try. But for the most part, it's pretty average. It's a poor sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's more about the actual playing of the game, is what you're trying to say, Bentley, right?
Yeah.
It's not so much the afterthought of it sort of thing. It's like you're there for the moment rather than looking back on it and saying, man, that was a great game. Because when you start doing that, as you've been doing, like you're trying to sell it to us, but you're trying to sell it to us, but you're pointing out all these cracks in the system, sort of thing.
Right. Well,
like it was kind of janky, but like at the time of playing it, it was actually a lot of fun, and the gameplay loop was actually a lot of fun to actually experience and enjoy.
Yeah, it's sort of like one of those things where, while you're playing it, the you know, like, sometimes, you know, when I'm playing a game, I do think about, you know, like a review score and say, okay, well, the review, as I'm playing it, the review score goes up, and then I go to bed, and as I wait till the next time I play it, the review score starts going down again, because it's just, you start thinking about it.
Right, I see what you mean. No, it makes sense. I mean, yeah.
So I definitely think it's worth playing. I
do
think it's worth playing. I just don't think it's just, as a person who loves Final Fantasy, you may like I'm warning you about the, you know.
Oh yeah, rightfully so.
Yeah, like, you know, keep your eyes open.
I mean, at the minute, the game is actually on sale on Amazon.com. It's like $33 or something. So I'll think about it today.
$5.
From what you've said, like, I might try it out and just try it and try and ignore the story as much as possible.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what we all want out of a fucking Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, exactly.
No story,
that's
$33. Let's just fucking get at it. Okay, that's a bit mean. I'll play Final Fantasy 15, but it's gonna be a hard sale for me. But
it's tough. Yeah, we'll see. I'll think about it. I mean, you might have swayed me like a bit more towards it, but not completely over the edge.
I understand.
Yeah. No, thanks for that, man. Appreciate it.
Oh, very insightful.
Except I talked for like an hour on it.
That's good. That's fine.
Cool. So coming up to the end of the podcast, as we talked about that for half an hour, so we kind of rounded off quite nicely.
All right.
So yeah, thanks for coming on, trying to convince us about Final Fantasy 15, man. Really appreciate it.
Well, I'm glad I could not do a great job.
No. Well, you've pushed me towards.
There you go.
The
yeah.
edge,
Okay.
I'll
take that. It's a win. I'm going to take it.
Yeah, like you've done Square Enix a bit more justice than what Square Enix have done for themselves. Put it that way.
Well, they do love shooting themselves in the foot, though.
They do. I think that's just a Japanese problem, in like the Japanese games market problem, where they haven't quite figured out the marketing strategies to how to properly promote their games to a Western market. They can do it for the home market without problem, because they're just doing the same thing that they've always done. Like they publish it in Famitsu, and then it shows up at Tokyo Game Show for 1 week, and then that's it. Like the game will promote itself because the country is so small and the game's sort of market is so small that it bounces off each other and everyone can hear about it quite easily. And if it's a Japanese game, most Japanese people are going to buy it. But when they're trying to sell it to a Western market, I don't know. They just drop the ball like 9 times out of 10. It's weird. Like the only game that I really feel that, well, the only company and the only game series that I feel I've really grasped the concept of selling to a wider market is probably From Software with the Souls games. I think they're the only people that have done it properly.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's an ongoing problem, but maybe they'll get back on it, because I like Japanese games.
Yeah, me too. Evan, go fix the problem. You're there. Go fix it.
Yeah,
I will do as you ask.
All right.
Get on it.
Doing it right now. One beer at a time.
So yeah, we're gonna close out. Mr. Bentley, where can we find you? On Twitter, on SIFTD?
Yes, you can. You can find me on SIFTD as Bentley. I have a 10-month-old daughter, so I am not on there quite as often as I would like to be. But you can find me as Bentley on there. You can find me on Twitter as Quiglin. That's Quiglin. And if I'm going to, since I can, I'm going to plug my podcast called Starting Point. You can find us on Twitter at Starting Point. That's all one word. Or you can find us on Shout Engine at shoutengine.com/starting point.
Sweet. Evan, how about you?
You can catch me at the stand user on Giant Bomb SIFTD and something else. I don't give a shit.
Twitter.
Vin, how about yourself?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter. I am at VinHillArt. You can find me and some of my finger paintings on there from time to time. But to be fair, if you just Google VinHillArt, I will pop up. Like I've tried to make myself as sort of active as possible on the internet. So
it's all that SEO.
You show up on Google quite a lot now.
Yeah, I would say, yeah. I mean, you're right there, aren't you?
Yeah. Like I think my art station might be at the start, at the top. Sorry, not the start.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty active on the internet, so you can probably find me if you just type in my name into Google. So I'm not to say that I'm any good. I'm just around. That's all I'll say.
How dare you, sir?
All right.
How dare you?
I apologize. But yeah, I probably won't be posting much art stuff lately because I've just gotten a job on a film, which actually would have been announced, so I can actually talk about it. I'm actually working on the film adaptation of an Image Comics comic, I guess. It's called Revival. I don't know if anyone's even heard of it, but yeah, I'm working on the movie adaptation of that, so maybe you'll see something in the future. I don't know.
All right.
Oh, looking forward to it.
Very cool.
Yeah. Hopefully.
And yes, if you Google Vin Hill, your art station is the number one thing.
Sweet.
Very nice.
That's good. Yeah, everyone, go luck. And yeah, give me some thumbs down or something. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for joining us, guys.
with a resounding, uplifting fucking self-promotion. All right.
Hell yeah.
That's all for Podcast Reload. Give us thumbs down. Trash our site. Fucking DOS. Just swat us. What do they call it? The kids nowadays. Swat us. Do everything you can to destroy us.
Oh my god.
No, but seriously, thank you for coming to join us on the podcast. We always appreciate all of our listener base. But if you do want to come and join us like Bentley has, then all you've got to do is message us on Twitter. You can find us at podcast_reload. Just let us know where you are in the world and what microphone you've got, and we'll try and get you on the show as soon as possible.
And by soon as possible, he means a year later.
Probably, maybe. We don't know.
That's how long it took me to get back
It depends
on.
how much we like you. You know, that's
it.
the main thing.
Yeah, that's it.
Because like Right, that's why it's taken Bentley so long.
They
to get
literally
back on,
ran out of people and
Exactly.
needed someone.
Yep.
And
We were
even
like,
then,
"Oh,
it was a
God, I
coin
suppose we've gotta
flip.
have that dude on it, you know.
On behalf of Podcast Reload and all you out there,
Thanks for joining us.
thanks. All right, see you later.
Sayonara.
I don't know, like the group of fucking boys and like the lack of rapport and story between the group of the four boys. It sounds cool. It sounds nice. It sounds friendly. Like, it sounds mild. Like, gotta, you know, let's be smooth. Let's play a game. Yeah. Giant turtle. Yeah. Seriously. Yeah, that fucking, yeah, Mystic Quest. That's all for for Podcast Reload. Give us thumbs down. Trash our site. Fucking DOS. Just swat us. What do they call it? The kids nowadays. Swat us. Do everything you can to destroy us.
Oh my god.